Mohammad Shami. The name says it all, doesn't it? The story of this World Cup, perhaps? For sure, one of the bowlers to watch out for in this tournament, hasn't he been? And started off late, wasn't part of the Indian team in the first 4 games, but as soon as he bowled that first delivery against New Zealand in Dharamshala, not in Mumbai, he has looked on the target, hasn't he? And there's been this anticipation around him. And it should be, given his numbers. Highest wicket taker for India in the ODI World Cups. So, he's delivered at the big stage. Quickest to 50 ODI World Cup wickets. That's quite something. Average is better than McGrath, Wasim Akram, Waqar Younis, Brett Lee in this particular competition, which is the marquee tournament of international cricket. And then he became the only Indian bowler to pick 7 wickets in an ODI World Cup match against New Zealand in no less than the World Cup semi-final. That in itself is quite something to have on your resume. But when you consider the fact that Shami is not the first or the second seamer in this unit, it becomes all the more spectacular. His achievements look all the more bigger because in ODI cricket, the role of a third seamer isn't to attack the batter necessarily, but it is to actually present him with the opportunity to lure him into playing those big shots and in the attempt of doing so, nab the wickets. But Shami has changed the concept around that role, hasn't he? Remember his spell to Ben Stokes, after Mohammad Siraj and Jasprit Bumrah were done with their initial spells. Remember his setup of Ben Stokes. It looked like a proper test match setup, didn't it? It looked like Shami wasn't bowling at the Ekana. It looked like he was at the Edgbaston, probably at the Lords, with the new ball, with the red cherry and not the white cherry. And, that's the speciality when you look at his wickets. They've not been necessarily ODI sort of bowling wickets. It's looked like he has had the red ball in his hand and he's had all the conducive conditions a seamer needs to take those wickets with him, which at times there have been, but even when the conditions haven't been the best for seamers, he has worked into utilizing that with his seam presentation, the immaculate seam presentation. It was on the target, as I said, right from his first ball of the tournament. I was lucky enough to be seated at the HPCA stadium in Dharamshala, and there was a buzz around the air as soon as Mohammad Shami got the ball. Everyone was excited into seeing how his World Cup will begin, and he scampered in from over the wicket and chopped Will Young on. That was with the new ball. But even with the older ball, Shami has made sure that India keep getting those wickets at the right junctures, as he did in the semi-final. 2 wickets in that first spell of his, then 2 in his second to remove Kane Williamson and break that partnership with Daryl Mitchell. The agony on Williamson's face said it all. It was the moment that India needed, and despite 397 runs on the board, they needed Shami to step up in that game. And then in his third spell, he killed the contest by removing Daryl Mitchell, didn't he? Rohit Sharma lifting him up towards the end. That sort of showed how important Shami has been to this side, and makes it all the more ironical that he didn't start in those first 4 games and that it was an injury to Hardik Pandya that has brought him in the 4. But once you remember the story of Mohammad Shami from the beginning, once you remember what he has been through, it wasn't that long ago that Shami had confided in Rohit that there was a time when his bout with depression had led to him thinking of taking his own life. All of it has amalgamated into the emotion that Mohammad Shami has been for this Indian cricket team playing a home World Cup. There is a bigger story to be told with that. 2 chants were loudest at the Wankhede Stadium during the India-New Zealand semi-final. One of the man who broke the record of his idol, one Sachin Ramesh Tendulkar, to be the only one to score 50 ODI tons. And the other of one Mohammad Shami, when he ran into ball from over the wicket or be it from around the wicket, and he took those 7 wickets. It was almost like the Indian crowd was anticipating that level of performance from him, as they were from one Virat Kohli. And seldom have Indian cricket crowds gotten behind their bowlers as much as they have behind their batters. But this Indian bowling attack has given them the reasons to do that. When they put in the kind of performances as they did against Sri Lanka or South Africa, Fast bowling has become a romantic feature of Indian cricket, and at the very center of it is Mohammad Shami.